Well, there you have it, people. That's pretty much as clear as you're going to get it. Joe Biden's own DOJ, under Merrick Garland, comes to the conclusion that Joe Biden in fact violated the law in his handling, or rather mishandling, of illegally held classified documents. Another massive Biden bombshell that I'm sure the media won't be too interested in. Certainly not as interested as they were in the Robert Mueller hearing, which eventually led to the total exoneration of Donald Trump, but that's another issue entirely. Here's what the media doesn't want you to know or doesn't want you to see. Here's what Joe Biden doesn't want you to see. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, friends, so Robert Hur was pretty clear. We learned a couple interesting things. Firstly, that the DOJ is in possession of recordings that proves that Joe Biden was in possession of classified documents, and also his intent to disclose the contents of those documents with a ghostwriter who at the time was writing a book for him.
My team and I conducted a thorough, independent investigation. We identified evidence that the president willfully retained classified materials after the end of his vice presidency when he was a private citizen. This evidence included an audio-recorded conversation during which Mr. Biden told his ghostwriter that he had, quote, just found all the classified stuff downstairs, end quote. When Mr. Biden said this, he was a private citizen speaking to his ghostwriter in his private rental home in Virginia. We also identified other recorded conversations during which Mr. Biden read classified information aloud to his ghostwriter.
So you have audio recording from his ghostwriter where the president acknowledges that the information he has is classified and he's sharing with his ghostwriter.
We have an audio recording capturing a statement from Mr. Biden saying to his ghostwriter in February of 2017, quote, I just found all the classified stuff downstairs, end quote.
And then again reciting passages from a meeting in the Situation Room.
Yes.
And those are in President Biden's own words.
Correct.
Right. So and the ghostwriter has no classified, he has no clearance, no classified clearance to anything, correct?
That is our understanding, that Mr. Zwanitzer was not authorized to receive classified information.
So throughout Joe Biden's career, he seemed to have a total disregard for classified documents or the security of said documents. He would bring documents with him as he pleased, store them a little bit here and a little bit there.
Mr. Hur, classified documents were found at the Penn Biden Center?
That's correct.
They were found in President Biden's garage?
In Wilmington, Delaware, yes.
And in his basement den?
Also in the same home, yes.
And his main floor office?
Correct.
And his third floor den?
Correct.
At the University of Delaware?
Correct.
And at the Biden Institute?
Correct.
All over his offices, in his basement, in his garage, just all over the place. Hey, ghostwriter. His ghostwriter calls him and asks him where the documents are, and he just says, I don't know, pal, check the basement. Probably next to my wife's bikini photos. And I'm not just saying that with no actual context out of nowhere. That's apparently another thing that Joe Biden said during his interaction with Robert Hur.
From these transcripts that lawmakers have been asking for, Ainsley, it's clear that it was the president who mused about when his son Beau had died, but we also got insight into the tenor of the conversation in these transcripts. Many times Biden was chummy, he was cracking jokes, he even joked with prosecutors, asking them if they found any risque photos of the First Lady in some of these boxes, saying, you know, if you did, she's very beautiful. I don't doubt that you might have seen pictures of her in a bathing suit.
Just to showcase the casual, nonchalant attitude regarding Joe Biden's approach to classified materials, cracking jokes with the prosecutor about his wife's bikini photos possibly being in the same box, we now have a clear picture of Joe Biden's disregard for important classified confidential information. And once again, it showcases how much of a dishonest hypocrite he is. Remember when he said this?
How that could possibly happen, how anyone could be that irresponsible. And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera. And it's just totally irresponsible.
When Donald Trump's home was being raided by his DOJ, he virtue signaled on the issue and condemned Donald Trump for supposedly mishandling documents. Not the same thing, folks. Donald Trump is protected by the Presidential Records Act. They're his records, and he had the ultimate authority to declassify any document that would be in his possession. Joe Biden's been taking documents since the 1970s, it seems. Since his time as a senator. I mean, for Pete's sakes, Joe Biden still thinks he's a senator, or at least running for Congress. Congress.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
Taking documents, putting them where he pleases, without a care in the world. It's a showcase of a couple things. How there's one standard for Donald Trump and those who oppose the uniparty regime, and pretty much no standards at all when it comes to regime party members. I mean, what an absolute farce. And right on the Biden brand, and really Democrat brand, why was Joe Biden taking classified documents? So he could keep all the juicy secrets for his ghostwriters to sift through and write all kinds of books to make millions upon millions of dollars on the Biden family brand. The same brand that Hunter Biden was selling. I mean, literally right on brand, huh? And of course, right on the Democrat brand as well. It turns out the Bidens were tipped off on Robert Hur's investigation, and they followed the DNC Clinton approach of attempting to destroy the evidence before getting caught.
Investigators with your office interviewed Mr. Zwaneter about the deleted recordings, and he admitted that part of his motivation for deleting this recording was because he was aware there was an investigation, correct?
Correct.
Because here's the scary part. Page 200. I said this earlier in my opening statement. Page 200. Joe Biden, this is a quote, Joe Biden risked serious damage to America's national security when he shared information with his ghostwriter. Shared it with his ghostwriter, the guy who was helping Joe Biden get $8 million. And oh, by the way, Mr. Hur, what did that ghostwriter do with the information Joe Biden shared with him on his laptop? What did he do after you were named special counsel?
Chairman, if you're referring to the audio recordings that Mr. Zwaneter created of his conversations with
exactly
Mr. Biden,
what I'm referring to.
He slid, if I remember correctly, he slid those files into his recycle bin on his computer.
Tried to destroy the evidence, didn't he?
Correct.
There's a couple things that I think are painfully clear at this point. Democrats talk a whole lot about Republicans, especially Donald Trump, being above the law or acting as if they're above the law, but the only people who feel as though they're above the law are the ones pointing the finger in the first place. Nancy Pelosi and all of her insider trading, Hillary Clinton and all of her devious schemes, Obama and Joe Biden's weaponization of the DOJ, FBI and CIA. I mean, the way Hunter Biden lived his life is the perfect representation. It's downstream from the source. These politically elite families feel like they can do what they want, get away with it, use their positions in government to make millions upon millions of dollars. The law, national security, ethics, merely a suggestion, at least to them. It is evident, according to Joe Biden's own DOJ, that he broke the law in his handling of those documents, in his stealing of those documents. They tried to cover their own tracks, they tried to delete evidence, and all the while they lied to the American people. Joe Biden lied to the American people as he condemned Donald Trump publicly. That was another thing made clear during the testimony.
February 8th, the White House question, Mr. President, why did you share classified information with your ghostwriter? The President, I did not share classified information. I did not share it. I guarantee I did not. That's not true, is it, Mr. Hur?
That is inconsistent with the findings based on the evidence in my report.
Yeah, so it's a lie. It's just what regular people would say, right? Yeah, all right. So the next one. And all the stuff that was in my home was in filing cabinets that were either locked or able to be locked. That wasn't true either, was it?
That was inconsistent with the findings of our investigation.
Another lie, people might say, right? Because what you put in your report was among the places Mr. Biden's lawyers found classified documents in the garage was a damaged open box. So here's what I'm understanding, right? As Mr. Armstrong laid out, you find in your report that the elements of a federal criminal violation are met. But then you apply this senile cooperator theory that because Joe Biden cooperated and the elevator doesn't go to the top floor, you don't think you can get a conviction.
Nonstop lies, manipulation, and self-enrichment. I mean, that's the Democrat uniparty brand. That is the Biden brand.